this would be your ROI in only 1 year of implementing a 3D configurator, and this would be your revenue. These are just a random number, but I want to show you the potential of a 3D configurator, so how much you can actually achieve with only a product configurator and the benefits that you will get when installing one of it. So let's say you have an e-commerce which the current conversion rate is 4%, which is actually very good. And usually installing 3D experiences like augmented reality and 3D configurators, studies show that it brings you a 40% more in conversion rate. And let's say your average order value is $50 and your monthly visitors 10,000, and the cost of implementing a 3D configurator is 10,000, maybe custom one or not a custom one, so you're paying a software, and this is like yearly. So if we want instead to base, maybe you don't believe this, and of course if you don't believe this, you can test yourself, put your numbers and see how it performs. Like, there is a link below, but here it is. Let's say you have a conversion rate of 2%. You sell custom furniture and you don't believe it performed 40%. So we can go on a 10% conversion. So let's say, okay, 10%, 9.9, whatever. And your average of order value is, because you're selling furniture, so let's say is 170. Maybe you don't receive this much monthly visitor, so let's say 7,000. Well, with implementing a 3D configurator that can cost you $10,000, still you have this much revenue instead of just this revenue, which if your furniture and you have this revenue, well, maybe, or you just started going very well, but let's say like this is like an annual cost that you have. Of course, you don't want to have a monthly billing or a annual billing for something that maybe you will have for like 10 years, and this would cost you 100,000. And it can be heavy sometimes. So why not to implement something personalized, which you can get for much less than this, like our configurator, where you can find always the link below, and you pay only one time and use for how much product do you need. So let's say you want the unlimited pack, and this will cost you 2,000 per one time. Well, your revenue will be much higher, but this you would pay just only one. So you would have next, let's say your conversion rate remain all the same, but let's say it goes to 0. Well, your ROI would just like increase. So that's the best part of having a 3D product configurator lifetime. You don't pay another bill monthly or yearly, and it's all yours. You own it. So what actually a 3D configurator now, what problem it solves? First of all, you will not have to create 1,000 of images with different product variation that you sell. Let's say you sell a chair. Okay, so you have this chair, and you can edit the arms, the headset, the color of the chair, the type of wheel, and the type of base, the color of the base, and you can imagine how many images you should create just to make the customers visualize this product. It's a lot of effort, and I'm the first person, and I don't know you, but for sure it happens also to you, that when you cannot visualize what are you buying, well, that's a pain in the ass. Like, you cannot imagine, and you maybe try to imagine yourself, but at the end, it happens to me, and I think it happens also to you. Well, you're not going to buy from the shop. And the same happens from your customers. If you're selling personalized bikes, whatever you're selling, like this happens. And you also might know that, for example, if you're on Shopify, you have a limit of the variation that you can put, or you have to pay more, and you cannot create that many product images variation. So that's what a 3D configurator solves. It helps you to create clarity in customers' minds. They will personalize your product because everyone likes personalization, and that's the best thing. And that's why it will increase your revenue as studies show, of more than 40%. But if you don't believe, I mean, your case might be less, but still, you'd go from this type of revenue without 3D of this type of revenue, just because you're offering personalization. And of course, as I always say, this is not a magic one, because you still have to first improve your advertising, customer experience, all this stuff, because this do not like solve from morning to night, night to morning, your revenue problem in your e-commerce. And that's the best thing. So if you want to buy this configurator lifetime access, I'll leave you the link below, and I will also leave you the link below here to calculate your possible ROI and revenue with a 3D configurator that you pay just one time in the description. See you in the next video.